So I've said many times that Shiba Inu is in fact dominated by retail. Retail is the big reason that right now Shiba Inu does well. We had a very good indication of that early on this market cycle. When we had early retail inflows, Shiba Inu popped. It did a 4.5x and cemented itself in the top 10 when it comes to crypto. Now, there was a really good question from a community member, Dakota Logan. Appreciate you for asking this, that I think people need to hear. And this is a good discussion to have. Do you think if the Fed doesn't cut the interest rates until next year, will it mess up this bull cycle? In your videos, you have stated we are waiting on retail money to flow in. And during the FOMC meeting today, Powell stated how the high interest rates affect the middle and lower class the hardest. I'm starting to think that this may not be the year of the super cycle. In my opinion, that might be 2028. By that point, all crypto ETFs will be established for a few years. If he doesn't cut rates until the middle of 2025, wouldn't that put us into a crypto winter? That's a fantastic question. So, retail flows, they're happening early, all right? They haven't happened full swing yet. We got kind of a little taste of it back in March, a little earlier than we normally experience it. And really what we're waiting for now is just this little pop that we normally experience later in the year of the halving. Really, that kickstarts alt season, that makes things go parabolic. And what happens then is people like to FOMO. People like to chase assets. So that is when charts are running wild, that's when you see the highest levels of adoption. So that's why right now we're not really seeing much. So it's all a question of if there is enough capital to flow into the space during that time. Now, here at home, we're experiencing some pressure from these high interest rates. For example, if you guys haven't looked at this chart, this is the personal savings as a percentage of disposable income. And if you guys notice, there is a very key trend that's been playing out since last summer, actually even last spring. And that is that the amount of additional capital that people have is dwindling. Stores of savings are in fact dwindling. It's something we've talked about here on the channel as well. And it's a question of whether we get to this point where you finally get this ease on the middle and lower class before things break, right? Before we have the possibility of tipping into a recession. I think right now there is still enough capital out there, at least in US homes, to facilitate that type of growth that you'd see in the crypto market. People tend to get into some of these better stores of values or more speculative assets even as the market is in fact booming. All right. Now, remember, this isn't just here at home. This is a worldwide thing. We've seen some rate cuts from other countries as well. They're kind of easing off a little bit, which is basically opening up the door for these to happen. Now, to get a little deeper into this, when we talk about a super cycle, it's basically this period of this long period of growth. All right. We're used to these 4-year cycles in cryptos. We're used to big retracements after that. And now when we're talking about a super cycle, we're talking about basically less of those dips. All right. And a big reason for that is not even necessarily just retail, because we're getting into those early stages of mass adoption. You're seeing, again, early retail flow in. You're seeing heightened levels of retail flow in, accelerated, more parabolic numbers per se. And we're still not even deep into that. But a big player in this is enterprise and institutions. Enterprises are building in crypto in ways we haven't seen before. If you guys haven't seen, there's been big partnerships that have been announced in multiple different blockchains utilizing blockchain tech, and you're likely to see that continue to explode as we get through these next few years. Institutional money, like you mentioned, these ETF products are bringing institutional money in a way that we haven't seen before as well. They're removing billions and billions and billions of liquidity from the markets just in the last, 6 months? Not even 6 total months yet. 5 months. And this is only going to accelerate even further, especially if we have some embrace from, if we have some embrace from these bills that are being passed, like if the CFTC comes in and starts helping oversee crypto instead of the SEC, who is not pro crypto. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in this towards getting into this super cycle where we'd experience probably these blow off tops later in the cycles, less retracement as we get into the bear markets. There's a lot of things that are going to be happening, right? Now, we do know that obviously there is only going to be likely one interest rate decrease this year. So people can only expect things to pull back so much. But we've already seen some of this easing off of spending a little bit. I'd say there are definitely industries throughout the US that are experiencing this less and less. And I don't want to get, too deep into this and bore a lot of people, right? What you need to know is that spending is slowly dropping. Spending has been starting to drop for a little while. It's a little deceiving because some of the some of the reports have looked a little different, but the GDP, the growth rate is slowing. People are spending less. The inflation numbers are starting to kind of level off a little bit. These are the things that you need to see before people start really, getting kind of, I don't want to say reckless with their money, but before they start throwing it around a little bit more. Hopefully that makes sense. So I think that we're still going to have a normal market cycle. I think that we're still going to experience this point where we get to over a $10 trillion market cap in the global market cap of crypto. And I believe that Shiba Inu is going to occupy a big portion of that just because of the optics that we're seeing, the early rates of adoption, the resilience that we've seen, whale interest. There's a lot of things that are beneficial for SHIB as a whole. So hopefully I explained that well enough. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. I don't think a crypto winter is coming. I mean, if we tip into a recession, I guess there's always the possibility of kind of a weird downturn, kind of like we experienced in 2021 where China banned crypto and pulled out, but we'll just have to kind of wait and see. It's an ever moving thing. It's an ever moving beast with a lot of pieces to it, but I appreciate you guys as always. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts below, but have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. Take care.